a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, welcome to the Consumer Quarterback Show. We love to help you win in any marketplace, all the different places that your life takes you into. We have expert contributors that can help you there. And we want to help you be an informed consumer, make you more street smart here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And we do that by bringing on all of the best expert contributors here locally. Attorney Milly Athanason back in studio with me. We're going to talk about new laws and some of the updates to laws, updates to custody and paternity suits, as well as her one of her passions is teaching as well. So we'll talk about her teaching as well. And coming up in the second half of the show, Dr. Harold Shininski as well. He's the author of A Champion's Mindset. I've got his book in studio here, and I picked out a couple pages I wanted to go over with you and him on that topic as well. Quick shout out to one of our sponsors. This segment's brought to you by Discovery Golf Cars, longtime friends of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Discovery Golf Cars. If you're thinking about getting a golf cart, they've got great service. They have some great products as well. New and used, they have the Easy Go, Star EV, Cushman, lots of different makes and models. My dogs love going for a ride on the golf cart, and now so does my son. He loves it. I open the garage door, and he's like, yeah, get me on the golf cart, and he turns the steering wheel like he's driving it. So he does a great job with that. But check them out online, discoverygolfcars.com. Let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you so you can take them up on special offers and incentives. All right, we got a hot listing here at 13906 Bardmore Place. This is a Carrollwood condo, beautifully staged, gorgeous property here. Turnkey solution if you're looking to buy a home in Carrollwood. 13906 Bardmore Place. You got a townhome, Unit B, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bath, 2-car garage, 2,100 square feet of living, beautiful updates and upgrades, stainless steel appliances. You have beautiful design backsplash there in the kitchen and bathrooms, tile throughout. You also have a 5-person jacuzzi tub. That is a jacuzzi that's like a hot tub that's coming with it. Fenced-in backyard with banana trees, avocado trees as well, and a golf course view. 13906 Bardmore Place, Unit B in Tampa, one of our hot listings from the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. 7202 US Highway 301 South in Riverview, another commercial property. Now, our team, we have 60-plus listings. We list commercial, vacant land, and residential properties. 7202 US Highway 301 South, Riverview, Florida. Now, this is a unique opportunity because you've got a corner lot. You have one side of the building that's operating as a barber shop. So that could be an attorney's office, CPA, financial advisor, real estate, mortgage office. The opposite side is a mechanic shop, so it's set up completely like a mechanic's, brakes, AC, mufflers, tune-ups, etc. 7202 US Highway 301 South in Riverview, Florida. You can see all of our listings at PlatinumCoastalElite.com.
Try that in a small town. See how far you make it down the road.
All right, we always love spending time with attorney Milly Athanason. Welcome back. Appreciate you coming in.
Thank you. I always enjoy being here.
Excellent. It's a great day here in Tampa Bay, and we love getting these updates. That's one of the things I love to do with this show, and you do such a great job of keeping us in tune because you're also a teacher as well. You teach a lot of these classes.
Yeah, I do. I do teach continuing legal education seminars to other attorneys, which I always say it kind of selfishly helps me because by researching in order to present to other people, it helps keep you current on the topic.
Right,
So,
absolutely. Keeps your keeps that A game in place. And I teach a class called Win with Sellers, so I love doing that. Periodic. I'll do it maybe once a month, every other month, and I'll teach a class called Win with Sellers. And I'll go into a Keller Williams office, or I've been into GTAR or Pro, the realtor organizations, and I teach. But yeah, there's something special about teaching, and I think the older you get too, you just kind of have this feeling of statesmanship in a sense where you want to give back.
You
do you feel that?
Yeah, I like to share what I know with other people.
Yep.
I think if we do that, it helps everybody do a better job practicing law.
Yeah.
Some lawyers are very, very competitive, and they like to hoard information that they know and not share. And
Yeah.
I feel just the opposite. I think we should all be talking about it. We should all be better informed and learn from each other.
Yeah, scarcity mentality versus an abundance mentality.
Right.
That's a big part of it.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a great philosophy to have, is to have that mindset, because when you truly think about that, and you think about, and my wife used to be into feng shui, so she's into real estate with us, of course, but prior life she was doing a little bit more feng shui. But I always think about some of those fundamentals of feng shui, and even just, for example, they really love the Asian, I guess, culture or whatever. They love the letter 8, or the number 8, right? Because it's like an infinite circle, right? The infinity. I don't know. I don't know what's behind it, but on my listings, I'll price them with 88 on the end. Like, bring the infinity on.
There you go.
There you go. Right. All right. So let's get to some of these updates. Attorney Milly Athanason, local attorney right here in Tampa Bay. You said you were going to give us some updates to family law space.
Yes. I get asked all the time when people come in for like a divorce consultation and they have minor children. They'll ask me, well, what's the standard visitation say here for Florida? What are we supposed to be doing?
Right.
And I always say that there's no standard, or at least there wasn't any standard per se. We would look at a laundry list of about 20 factors that are listed in Statute 6113, and then the court would make a determination based on an assessment of those factors what time-sharing schedule would be the best for the other parent and the minor child. And we now call it time-sharing. We don't call it visitation, although many people still do call it, but in legalese we now call it time-sharing. The law changed as of January 1st, because before, what the statute said is that there was supposed to be no special consideration given whether you're a mom or your dad, because there used to be something called a tender years doctrine, where it was believed that children of a young age belonged with the mother. They did away with that doctrine, and now they're saying that it doesn't matter whether you're the mom or the dad. You can still do feedings, you can still take the child to the doctor, whatever. But we went a step further in Florida as of July 1st. And what the statute says is now there's a rebuttable presumption that there should be 50-50 time sharing. And if you don't agree that that should be the case, then you have to make a showing of a preponderance of the evidence, or a greater weight of the evidence, as to why you feel that would not be in your child or children's best interest.
Okay.
Whereas before, it was just a presumption that both parents were equal, not that there was equal time sharing. We've now gone a step further, and it now requires the court to specifically analyze the 20 factors that are in the statute and make factual findings. And the factors are things like, which parent is more likely to be accommodating to the needs of the child and to the needs of the other parent when they're requesting changes? Which parent is more likely to place the needs of the child first over their own specific needs? And so forth. And they look at all kinds of factors when they're looking at that. Like what did the parties have in place before they got divorced? Were both parents kind of equally involved? Did one parent do one thing and the other parent did the other thing? They look at all of that when they're making an assessment. But now there's a presumption in favor of 50-50, and that's very significant. Now the question then comes, well, is that appropriate for every situation, 50-50 time sharing? Well, it may be. I mean, the legislature is saying we think it should start there, and if you don't think it works, then you need to tell us why it isn't going to work.
Okay.
And the reason why is because they feel that children that have frequent and ongoing contact with both of their parents generally have a better self-esteem, better sense of self, because they are part of both of their parents.
Right.
So the legislature feels that it's important for children to have a good bonded relationship with both parents.
Sure.
So what I think is going to happen now in the wake of that is that we're going to see a lot more litigation over that factor and whether or not it truly is in the best interest. And there may be situations where a parent doesn't really want that.
Right.
So there could be a number of factors that go into that formula, but it now starts with that and we move backwards as opposed to having to push forward, if that makes any sense. So that's, I think, a very huge and significant change in the state of Florida. And I think for a while, until the case law catches up and sets forth some standards for counsel to follow, that there's going to be a lot of litigation in that regard.
Yeah.
So
It's interesting.
It is interesting. It's a big step in the state of Florida when you think about it, going all the way from the tender years doctrine all the way up to a presumption of equal time sharing. I think that's really huge and very progressive. So,
well, I imagine in a sense, one of the biggest challenges that you see, especially when in a divorce situation or a family law situation, is the fact that there's drugs and alcohol abuse happening by one or both spouses.
yes. That unfortunately happens quite a bit. And that's interesting that you point that out. That is one of the factors that the court looks at, is whether one parent, the other parent, or both parents have substance abuse issues, whether they have domestic violence issues, because that's another thing. And when I say substance abuse, it could be alcohol as well as drugs. Both of them can impair one's faculties and ability to parent children.
Sure.
So definitely it's something that the court has to look at. And unfortunately, we see a lot of that, well, at least in the past decade. I've seen a lot of rise in where you have drug cases. Used to be that you had mostly, when there was substance abuse, it was mostly alcohol. But now you're seeing a lot of drugs. And, with all the social pressures and the economic conditions, I can see that increasing with time, because people use it as an escape route.
Yep.
Essentially.
Exactly.
And when they do that, the children are no longer the priority at that point. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's so sad when it gets to that. We're talking with attorney Milly Athanason here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Family law, divorce attorney right here in Tampa Bay, multiple offices in the Bay Area. I want to continue on this line of thinking. Also, let me actually shift gears a little bit. Have you noticed a change? And because one of the biggest things affecting real estate law and real estate sales right now is insurances. Have you noticed any major changes in insurances that affect any of your areas of practice? The most notable right now is one side attorney's fees instead of two-way attorney's fees and whatnot, where the insurance companies would essentially, you'd have these door knockers that would come through and they would have a fraudulent case essentially saying, hey, there was a storm and we noticed that your roof had some damage. The old lady comes out and says, I didn't really notice damage. I don't have a roof leak. Oh, we'll get you a new roof. Don't worry about it. We can get you a new roof. So anyways, I'm just I'm hearing a lot of that, a lot of pushback about insurance. Is that affecting your business or any of your clients as much?
Well, it does affect, obviously, on the auto cases, on my personal injury side more so. In the family side, what we're seeing with insurance issues is health insurance. It's become, even with the Obamacare out there, it's become very cost prohibitive for a lot of families to furnish insurance. And you see a lot of families on the Medicaid route or, shared expense route. And so that does come up a lot. And then the other thing that comes up is things like orthodontia, dental care, and things that are not typically covered by insurances.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, on the personal injury side, obviously, that's the whole argument is always about insurances. But I know where you're coming from on the real estate side. You're saying that there's a lot of fraudulent claims that people are looking to, roofing companies or whatever, may be looking to make claims to get insurance money in order to put new roofs on people's house, and they may be selling these innocent people a bag of potatoes. I don't know, but that is not something that I typically deal with a lot in my practice. But I mean, I know it does happen, and I know it's a great controversy. Yeah,
and what happened is the state changed the rules. It's one of the kind of a knocks against DeSantis is that he kind of sided with, in a sense, the insurance companies. And on one hand, I get it. You have so many insurance companies biting the dust, leaving the state. You're left with a certain amount of carriers. So, but yeah, the long and short of that now is like if I have a situation where storm came through, messed up my house, and the insurance company just says, we're not going to pay it, sue us. Now, I have to furnish the monies up front, 15, 20, 30 grand or more to take on the insurance company versus back the way it used to be.
Right.
Is right. So then you would have, the attorneys would take it on and say, hey, we'll get our payment from the settlement.
Right. Yeah. So. And that makes it harder for consumers to file suit because, most of the people don't come up with or don't have that kind of money sitting in their bank account.
Exactly.
And now that's why we have PI with personal injury cases. We work on a contingency fee basis where we are allowed to take on the case, that we can say that at the conclusion of the case that we'll take a portion of the proceeds that come in the door as our payment, so that you don't have to pay us up front.
Right.
So that works, and maybe that will start happening as far as the property insurance is concerned. But I see a lot of litigation with property insurance, and it's a crisis, definitely.
Yeah.
And with all these superstorms coming through, I mean, they're more frequent and more intense, and also cover wider part. You know, they're not just little condensed storms anymore. So I can see that we're going to probably have a lot more litigation.
More to come. Milly Athanason coming up on the other side of this break. Quick commercial break. Attorney Milly Athanason on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Hey, make sure you follow us online. We'd love to connect with you at brandonRhymes1, at CQB Show, and stop by our YouTube channel. Over 2,300 videos on our YouTube channel. Please subscribe to the channel, Brandon Rhymes Realty, and you can search that on YouTube as well. We'll be right back here. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, everybody, it's the Captain, Matt Bruce, and you're listening to my buddy, Brandon Rhymes, a Consumer Quarterback. Sell, Brandon, sell.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 727-263-3707. Online at consumerqb.com.
Dennis Prager here for Brandon and Lindsay Rhymes, owners of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams. Buying, selling, investing in real estate, their nationwide Keller Williams network makes them the best team to work with. Sellers, have your property featured live on air, creating multiple offers. Buyers, leverage a unique system that gets your offer accepted, never overlooked. Call or text 813-750-0550, 813-750-0550, or consumerqb.com.
I want to give a special thanks to Satellite Phone Store. They just hooked me up with this beautiful satellite phone, and it's a gorgeous phone. It's a great device. It's a safety device as well. Think about it. If you're out on the boat 40, 50 miles out, maybe you're going hunting or you're going hiking in the woods somewhere, you run out of cell phone service, or who knows, maybe a possible terrorist attack. It's not like our politicians aren't entrenched in all this stuff going on overseas, all over the place, all over the world. Could be a terrorist attack. They could attack the power grid. They could attack the cell phones. Who knows what they're going to attack next. Sat123.com/REQB. Sat for satellite. Sat123.com/REQB, like real estate quarterback.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Hot listing here at 419 Palaway in Spring Hill. This is another beautiful listing from the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, helping our sellers sell faster for more money. 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, got 71 square feet here, almost 2,100 square foot home in Spring Hill. Beautiful property here. Lots of updates, wood flooring, stainless steel appliances, great opportunity, beautiful pool, private pool with a screened in, as well, lanai, as well as pavers. And 419 Palaway, Spring Hill, we have open houses going on there as well. 3864 50th Avenue South. This is a great property, another beautiful family home here in St. Petersburg on 50th Avenue in St. Petersburg. 3864 50th Avenue. This property's been updated and renovated. We got a great opportunity for a purchase here. Open house is going on this weekend as well. You can see all of our listings at PlatinumCoastalElite.com.
And yeah, I'm raising my glass to those saving our ass overseas.
All right, Attorney Milly Athanason in studio. Milly, one of our other topics we wanted to get to was paternity and some of the different changes to the laws or updates in laws in that space as well.
Yeah, so typically what was happening prior to the changes is if an unwed mother gave birth to a child, she was presumed as the natural parent and guardian. Eventually, a mother may bring a suit through the Department of Revenue in order to get child support. But in those actions, essentially all that was determined was parentage or paternity and then child support. If the father wanted to have any time-sharing rights, he was going to have to come back and file a separate action in the circuit court in order to achieve those rights. Now it's come back a little bit different, and they're saying, look, if a parent if a father, unwed father, has signed the birth certificate or an affidavit of paternity, and he's determined that he is the father, that he is going to have parenting rights other than just the right to pay child support, so that he can also see the child. And what that means is this: mom and dad are fiancés, but they're not really married.
Okay.
And they get into a huge argument, and, you know, mom's like, get out of the house, and dad says, well, I'm taking the child with me, and mom is like, no, you're not. And then, you know, somebody calls the police, right?
Yeah.
The police are not going to necessarily be able to stop dad from leaving with the child. They may try to de-escalate the situation,
Right.
but dad's got parenting rights as well now that before he didn't necessarily have.
Yeah.
So that's a huge differential, and I think we're going to see some litigation and things that come up as we settle that let the dust settle on that statute. But that is huge. And the other issue that came up, or that there's a change in, is on the issue of modification. So if you're, let's say, divorced, you have a divorce decree, but now the child was 5 years old when you got divorced. The child's now 12 years old. So things have changed, you know, and one parent wants to change the time sharing schedule. Used to be that you had to prove that there was a material, substantial, and unanticipated change in circumstances. And by unanticipated, that means that if we knew about the condition back when the original decree was entered, we couldn't use that as a basis to change what the decree was.
Sure.
They did away with that unanticipated portion.
Okay.
So now if there's just a substantial and material change in circumstances, you can ask for a modification. And the reason for this is obviously lives change. Now, you know, you look back at your own life 3 years ago, it's probably not necessarily the exact same as
Sure.
it is today.
Right.
Things change, children age, they get into their own activities, they have their own friends.
Right.
So that's the situation. So that's a huge difference in the statute.
Yeah, we're talking with attorney Milly Athanason here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Milly, did you hear about, I don't know if it passed or not, but then drunk drivers in Texas, if they were to kill a parent, then they would be responsible. The drunk driver would be responsible for paying child support. Have you heard of that or seen that?
I've heard of that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it passed, but I did hear that it was I don't really follow Texas law that much, but
I think it was Texas.
Yeah, I think I heard something about that on the news.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think I came across it on social media, but yeah, it makes sense. I mean, if you incapacitate, you kill someone, you know, hey, you got to bear the fruits of your, you know, what you did there.
Right, absolutely.
But yeah, give us some of your final thoughts here. The great updates there, by the way, on the family law and the divorce situation, and what a challenging time for the deputy in that example too, coming in, right?
Challenging.
Like the deputy coming in trying to sort out, you know, emotions are high, and you're taking the kid, I'm not taking the kid. Man, so hats off to our law enforcement out there. We've got about a minute left. Give us your final thoughts.
So, you know, we're here if you need help on to explain what the changes in the statute mean relative to your set of circumstances, or if you need to make changes or anything like that. We're here to help you. That's what we do. And I'm a big proponent of explaining the law to people so that they understand how it maneuvers and how it works, so that they just don't make poor decisions in their day-to-day lives. So if anyone wants to have a discussion about that, my number is 1-833-ASK-MILLY, M-I-L-L-Y.
833-ASK-MILLY, M-I-L-L-Y.
Yes.
That's a great, memorable phone number there. I love that. Now we just need a jingle to go with it, right?
Work on that.
We'll hit a button. We'll have the jingle. There you go. And you got offices right there in Trinity, was it?
Yes, and in Spring Hill as well, and in Orlando.
Spring Hill, Trinity, Orlando. Awesome.
Yes.
The trifecta there. I love it.
Yes.
All right. Attorney Milly Athanason, thanks for coming in. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Taking a quick break. Coming back, we got Dr. Harold Shinitsky in the house, A Champion's Mindset. And I picked out a couple pages I wanted to go over in this book here. A really cool story about the great Ted Williams, if you remember that name, baseball's best hitter. Awesome stories coming up here. Dr. Harold Shinitsky on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. Please make sure to send him all of your real estate deals and subscribe to the Consumer Quarterback Show podcast on